Hey guys, welcome to another Keen on Keller podcast. I'm your host, Sherry Almond. So let's see, today is January 23rd. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. So Friday's not that far away. I really hope you all are having a fantastic week thus far. One thing I'm really excited about today is we're actually going to kickstart a new portion of our podcast, restaurant review. You know, Keller is filled with wonderful eating establishments, so it's eventually my goal to make it around to all of those, meet the chefs, talk about their food, what brought them to Keller, and just get to know them on a more, one-on-one basis. So be on the lookout for that. But today's restaurant is F&G Eats, which is located at 201 Town Center Lane. So it's just up the street from our beautiful town hall. And there you will find chefs Bob Stevenson and Carlos Arvelo. And boy, you are in for a treat because they truly put a culinary twist on all your favorite dishes. Some of my personal favorites are their soups. Gosh, the poblano soup, their tomato basil soup, their cream of mushroom soup is the best soup I think I've ever had. And on these cold, chilly days we've had lately, it truly warms you up. But I think you will find that it's a fun atmosphere. The staff is incredibly friendly. They have cutting-edge cocktails. So I promise you will enjoy your dining experience, no doubt about it. So make sure you stop by F&G's and visit with Bob and Carlos. They're open for brunch and lunch and dinner. I think you will enjoy the F&G experience. Last week we had so much fun visiting with Joyce Roach and going over the history of Keller. We thoroughly enjoyed that. But now we're going to make a big jump. We're going to kind of go to the future. I will say that my next guest talks a little bit about the past, but mostly the future. So today I had the absolute pleasure of sitting down with our mayor, Pat McGrail. And boy, I could have visited with Mayor McGrail for such a long time. And you can only imagine that 5 years on city council and now his fourth term as mayor, his passion, his knowledge, and the stories he can tell you about Keller, unbelievable. So I really enjoyed my visit with him, and what follows are some of the highlights from our interview. Enjoy. Welcome, Mayor McGrail. Thank you so much for joining us today on Keen on Keller.
It's my pleasure, Sherry. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And I hope your new year's starting off with many blessings.
They have, and it's been a good year. This past year has been a wonderful year for the City of Keller, and I anticipate next year being even greater. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Great. Well, my last podcast was about the history of Keller, and from those humble beginnings, we have now become an ever-growing established community.
Right.
And as our mayor, I can only imagine the growth and changes you have seen and continue to see.
Yes.
So, speaking of what you will continue to see, what do you see is on the horizon for Keller in 2019, 2020?
Well, I see an exciting future. I've been here many, many years, and I've seen a lot of change, and the vast majority of it's been positive. But, we're in one of the fastest growing areas in Northeast Texas right here. Mm-hmm. And no matter whether you like it or not, we're going to continue to grow. So all we can do, you can't stop growth.
Right.
But you can certainly manage it, and that's what we've been trying to do for many years, manage the growth and make sure it's good quality growth, and it keeps Keller what it is, what makes it so special, a good quality of life city. But this coming year, I'm excited because we just had a bond election this past May, and the citizens approved a $8 million, not to exceed figure, to construct a senior center. So that's our big project for this year, to begin the design and hopefully before the end of the year, construction of a new senior center, something that is way past due. We have basically, over the years, replaced every structure within the city of Keller as far as city offices and buildings goes, and this is the last of our major building projects, the senior center, and it's something that, in all honesty, is way past due. The current facility is 4,200 square feet, and we've proposed and citizens approved about a 22,000 square foot facility, which will accommodate not only the current needs but the future needs to build on. So I'm excited about getting that started, and look forward to its completion within probably about 2 years from start to finish. Yes.
Okay.
So.
And also, they're building something wonderful across the street here.
Oh yes, our new hotel. Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. That's the result of 5, almost 6 years of work with different developers and hotel chains, and a lot of negotiations, and to the point where I was really concerned about would it really ever become reality, but it finally has after a lot of effort by a lot of people. And it's going to be a beautiful addition to our town center, and I think everybody's going to really be happy with it when it's all finished.
Oh, I think so. I think that's something Keller's needed for a long time.
It's going to be very nice. It's going to be a beautiful facility, and I think people are going to be very surprised when they see the finished product. So, and it'll serve a real demand we have here in the city of Keller, especially now with the new Bowden, our event center, which I'm very happy to have. They're booked for like the next 2.5 years for weddings. Right. So there's going to be a lot of out-of-town guests looking for a place to stay. We have an auditorium every weekend, has swim meets, out-of-town people. We have a sports complex, second to none in the area. A lot of people come into town for different sporting events and tournaments and whatever. So I think the hotel will do fine. We've got all the Fortune 500 companies up north, and they're always looking for rooms for their people. So we'll be fine.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great addition.
It is, absolutely.
What is the timeline on that? Do you know?
The hotel itself?
Yes.
Well, the day of the groundbreaking, they were actually out there turning dirt. And they've been turning dirt every day since. They're working 6 days a week. I've gone by in the evening, and they have floodlights out there in the dark. They're out there working in the dark. So, yeah, we're talking probably within 2 years, it'll be up.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that to me is the true saying, build it, they will come. I have no doubt that hotel is just going to be full a lot.
I agree.
I'm very excited about the hotel.
Yeah, great addition to the town center. And then it's also going to bring a very upscale restaurant along with it. On the corner there of Ruth Snow and Bear Creek Parkway, there will be a standalone restaurant facility, and it's going to be a very upscale type restaurant, something that people in Keller want to see.
Do we know what it's going to be yet, or?
At this time, I can't name it. It looks like it's going to be a upscale steakhouse.
Okay.
So,
something to look forward to and be excited about.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And then as we mentioned, that right across the street, we've got all the new restaurants coming in front of the movie house.
Yes.
And the movie house, that's another thing. Years ago, when I started talking about bringing that to Keller, people says, "You'll never get a movie house in Keller. I mean, who's going to go?"
It stays full all the time.
It's filled every night. It's filled every night. And you know what? You go to South Lake now, and that's where I used to go, to the Harkins, right? Now you go to Harkins, you can go to movie anytime you want for $6.
Right.
Because they're giving their seats away because all the people in South Lake are coming to Keller to go to the movies.
Sit in those nice seats.
Yes, they are. And be able to get something to eat.
Right.
So.
Oh, I love our theater. I think all of this over here across the street.
It was a great addition to the city. And
yes.
All the little restaurants up front are going to be even nicer, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's great. There's a lot of things going on. Brahms is finally underway. We've got office complexes everywhere. You go up and down 1709, everywhere you look, there's construction. Mm-hmm. So it's an exciting time.
Just growing and growing.
It is.
And one of the things, I guess our town motto is big city living with small town charm. And I can only imagine that's got to be difficult to really maintain that balance.
It is. And that phrase is something that I coined many years ago because I saw that as what the people came here for and what they want to continue to see. So we tout the fact that we have the big city convenience but the small town charm.
Right.
And we're very proud of that. Keller is a community where people come because it's a place they want to live. They want to raise their family. We've got an outstanding educational system. Mm-hmm. And we've got all the amenities that go along with it. It's a tremendous park and trail system, second to no other community around here. We've got things like the farmers market, and that attracts people from everywhere. Mm-hmm. And there's so many recreational opportunities here in the city itself. It's just the quality of life is second to none, and I'm really proud of that. And that doesn't happen by accident. That takes a lot of work and a lot of planning on behalf of a lot of people, mainly the city staff and city councils over the years. So,
sure.
I think to this point, I think we've done a good job, and I'm very happy with where we're at, and we're going to continue to be that way. I mean, I'm sure you well know we've been recognized numerous times for our quality of life, a place where people come because of the quality of life, where they want to live, raise their family. CNN Money Magazine recently ranked us as the 7th best place in America to live, so it doesn't happen by accident, and that says a lot.
You're right, it doesn't.
And I get the opportunity to meet a lot of people over the years, and I'll talk to them, and they'll say, well, I came from here, I came from there. I'll say, well, what brought you here? Well, we were coming to the area, so we got on the web, and we looked and found out that this is basically the best place to live. In the Metroplex, it's got a lot of high rankings and whatever, and there's a lot of people who have come here because of what we are.
Right.
That's why it's important we continue to maintain that direction and keep Keller what it is today. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm committed to that.
And that makes me happy because I'm with you. Part of the small town charm is what brought us here.
Right.
And of course, we've lived here for 20 years, and we've seen it just grow. I mean, unbelievably so.
I know.
Roof Snow used to be just a little two-lane.
Two-lane road. Tarrant Parkway didn't exist. Yeah.
And then just boom, all the way around us.
Well, when I came here, Roof Snow didn't even go out to 1709.
Oh, how long have you lived in Keller?
I came here in 89.
89.
Yeah. And it was still a pretty small town back then. We didn't have much in the way of traffic lights, and a lot of roads that we know today that we take for granted didn't exist. And if they were two-lane roads. Now they're 4-lane, 6-lane, you know.
On and on, turnabouts.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
so you kind of told me what makes Keller home to you.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's the quality of life, and that's what brought you here.
That's what we're all about, yeah. But at the same time, we want that small-town charm.
Right.
I worked for the airlines, and over the years I've lived in virtually every major city there was, from New York to LA. And I wanted to find a place where I could settle down, call home, and more importantly, raise my family, and hopefully they would always be here. I have 3 grown children. They're all married, and they all have their children, and all 3 of them still live here to this day in the city of Keller. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm very happy that it all worked out the way it did.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But believe me, they didn't stay here because I'm here. They stayed here because they realized what a special place it is to live.
Right.
And they wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Well, you know, and you helped build all this, so that's a double.
And a little bit. I first got involved in 1991, so I guess I could say I've been a little bit involved.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
And you were a city councilman at first, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep.
And you did that for
5 terms.
5 terms. Okay.
And then this is my 4th term as mayor.
4th term.
Yeah. Well, I love this city. I love this city, and you know, I just love being involved in and helping make it what it is. So.
Well, I love it. I think everybody's done a fantastic job. So, what are some of your favorite things to do here in Keller? I mean, you obviously mentioned the movie house.
Well, obviously, I enjoy the movie house. I enjoy going out once in a while for a nice meal. We have some really nice restaurants in town. You know, unfortunately, our town is so big and the facilities are so spread out. People don't really realize how many establishments we have as far as a place to eat, whatever. You know,
right, you're right.
You take a small town like Roanoke, and everything is crammed into a 2-block area.
Exactly.
So they go to Roanoke like, wow, look at all the restaurants they have. Well, yeah, but they're all in the 2-block. If I took every restaurant we had in Keller, we would fill the whole city of Roanoke.
Right.
So we have the restaurants. People just don't realize it because they're spread everywhere. But we have a lot of good quality restaurants. We have basically any and everything you could want. But there's still room for more, and we're working on it. We're working very hard on that. But it's not easy. It's a very competitive market nowadays. So, but we've got some more in the works for this coming year, and so I'm excited about that.
Okay.
So,
and Old Town Keller West has turned out beautiful.
Very excited about that.
You're working on
On
Old
the
Town
east.
Keller East.
Yes.
I saw a plan of some of the improvements that you're working on, and it looks like it's going to turn that place.
Cost-wise, it's going to be a major project, so we're going to take it in steps.
Right.
The first step is going to be Bate Street. We're going to improve Bate Street, make it more pedestrian-friendly, so we can have different functions and events down there on Bate Street. The important thing is a pedestrian crossing from the east side to the west side and vice versa. That'll be part of the project, and we're going to develop. We've had land down there for years called Bate Street Park, where the Historical Society's at. We're going to improve that park area. So that'll be phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be infrastructure, and go in there and improve the roads and the drainage system. And then
I'm excited about Old Town Keller.
I am too. And you know, in all honesty, the west side, there was a lot of people questioning the money we spent, which really, in all honesty, wasn't that much. But for the money we spent, we've more than got our return on the investment with all the new establishments that have come there. Right. I mean, you get down there on the weekend, you can't find a place to park.
Oh, and you're right, you can't. It's packed.
It's a good example, 7 Mile Cafe. Mm-hmm. Try and get down there on the weekend and walk in the door and get something to eat.
Right. We go really early.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes it's hard to find a place to park.
You know, and it's that case anywhere. I mean, I've many a time gone down there and it'll be half hour, 45-minute wait. So I get down the street to DeVivo's, which is another fantastic place.
Right.
And guess what? You can't get in their door either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like no matter where you go around here on Saturday, Sunday, you basically can't get in the door. And that's why I'm excited. We've got another new breakfast place opening over here.
Is it Sunny Street Cafe?
Sunny Street, yeah. And it's going to be very nice. People are going to be very happy with it also.
Good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that place will be packed.
Yeah.
In all your time here, Pat, do you have a favorite story about Keller? Is there something that stands out that's just...
That's a hard question.
There's many.
Yeah, I know. I guess my favorite thing is just getting to meet and know all the people in this town. And the people that have made the community what it is, and the history behind, you know, and there's still some people left that were actually born and raised in Keller. Not a lot, unfortunately, but they are, and I always enjoy sitting down talking to them, getting their perspective and their history. Like, I know your last podcast you had Joyce Roach, and she's fantastic. I mean, nobody knows the history of Keller better than she does.
Right.
And the history is so unique when you hear the story of how we first got started, and I'm sure she told you that initially we weren't called Keller, we were Antal.
Right.
And they wanted so bad to get a railroad stop here in Keller that they contacted the railroad foreman, and his name was John C. Keller, and they said, John, if you stop the train in Keller, we'll name the town after you. And he did. They built a train station. They changed the name of the town. So
got the depot, and the train stopped here, and Keller was born.
So,
it was the boom for Keller back then, right?
It was. It really was, and that was our roots. But unfortunately, we just lost a really good person here this past week. A gentleman. His name was Woody. He was a World War II vet, born and raised in Keller, and he had just recently turned 100 years old. We celebrated his 101st birthday, issued a proclamation in honor of it all, and then he just passed away this past week. But just people like him. And he used to show up every morning. He'd be at McDonald's. There's a little group, and that's what's so unique. Still, talk about the small town feel. You go to McDonald's, there's a little group of people that meet there every morning and sit and talk about the whatever. You go to Whataburger, there's another group meets there every morning. You get down to the Snooty Pig, there's a group there.
Yes.
Go over to the other McDonald's, another group. You got all these little groups. They said, I remember when I came to Keller, the only place we had you could eat breakfast was called JR's Cafe. And it was the same thing. I, at the time, felt out of place walking there because it was all the old timers. They'd all sit around talk about the city and all the new people coming to town.
Right. You walk in, they're like, who are you?
Yeah, exactly. But it's just so special. We still have that small town feel, and I love it. And I want to keep it.
Right. Yeah, and you're exactly right. In speaking with Joyce, it just it made me miss my parents and my grandparents, and when I used to listen to my dad and his 7 brothers and sisters sit around and talk about, they grew up in Brady, Texas, the heart of Texas, and just what it meant to them and how much they saw it change, and nothing quite like Keller, but I miss that. And I think it needs to be treasured.
Exactly. And it's so special. And I always enjoy in the morning when I get the opportunity. I just go from one place to the next just to say hello to everybody. And there's always somebody with a question. Hey, Mayor, what's going on here? Hey, Mayor, what's going on there?
Right.
I just enjoy talking to these people, being a part of it. But that's what, again, makes it special. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great city.
That's
and
wonderful.
then all our events. I mean, in the summertime, we have the concerts out here on the lawn. We have concerts in the park. We have movies on the back of town hall. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's always something going on. Our Parks and Recreation Department is fantastic. I mean,
I've really enjoyed working with your Parks and Rec department.
Fantastic.
There's a bunch of good people there.
Saturday morning, go down to Farmers Market. My wife, I must admit there's mornings I'd like to stay in bed, but come on, we got to go to the Farmers Market, so it's a great thing.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Pauline. She's a lovely lady, and
she is.
And make sure you pass on mine, and I think hopefully our listeners, we appreciate the fact that she has shared you with us in our town for so many years.
She's a good person, and she loves Keller just like I do.
So do you think you're going to run again?
Well, sure. A lot of work to be done.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't walk away in the middle of a project as long as the citizens will let me stay.
Right. Yeah. Is there one accomplishment that you can pinpoint that was, pivotal to you?
There are so many.
There's so many.
But if I had to narrow it down, I would think the one thing I'm probably the proudest of was when we received that national recognition as being the 7th best place to live in America.
Right.
To me, that was really special.
To
me, that reinforced everything that I had always felt and still do feel. Keller is a very special place. It's a place where people come because of the quality of life and what we have to offer. And when CNN ranked us in that position, that basically summed it all up and reaffirmed what I've always felt.
That's and I think that's perfect because you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Because I'll run into friends that live all over the world, and they'll be like, Keller. Why
and a lot of people, as I said earlier, I've talked to people and they come here, and a lot of them came because of that. They saw that and they're like, wow, this must be a special place. Right. And it is.
It is. You're right.
When I first got involved, our city hall was what is now 7 Mile Cafe. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do we have this building when you came here? Yeah, because it's 20 years old.
Right. It was brand new.
Yeah.
Pretty
Our
new.
city, it's 20 years old, and I was very instrumental actually bringing this to reality. But our city secretary, a lady by the name of Sheila Stevens, just retired the last 2 years. She always said, "Oh, we'll never get a city hall. Oh, we'll never get a." I said, "Yes, we will." No, we won't. I said, "Sheila, we will." No, we won't. You're such a good person. I love her.
And you did. Look at this.
Yeah, and today it's going to cost us more to build a senior center, a much smaller senior center than what it costs to build this whole city hall. Our TIF passed the TIF. It was a $20 million TIF. But with that $20 million, we built this entire city hall. We built the natatorium over there for the school district. We built the entire town center infrastructure, all the streets, the water, the sewer, 125 acres of open parkland back here. This lake didn't exist. We created this lake. It goes from here all the way around and across under the street. We did all this for $20 million.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And the good thing is, this past August, we paid it off. It's done. Everything here, natatorium, the city hall, all the infrastructure, 125 acres of parkland, it's paid for. So it worked, and I'm proud of that.
Well, you should be. I think, that's...
And I have people come up all the time, and they'll say, "Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I didn't realize you had all this back here." And I enjoy just sitting there and watching all the people out there walking around. In the summertime, it's just always... It's a very active community. When I first got on council was 1995, and my two goals at that time were Hidden Lakes and the athletic complex. We owned all the land where the athletic complex is, and there was a guy by the name of Yates, and he was a developer. And he initially had bought all that land, and he had actually laid out the infrastructure to build a housing development over there. He had all the little streets in place and whatever.
And where's this at?
The current sports complex.
Oh, the sports complex, okay.
So it was a neighborhood that was laid out, and the asphalt streets were in place, and the water and sewer lines and everything, and he went bankrupt, and the city bought it. He didn't like the fact that we bought that land and we're going to develop an athletic complex, so he filed a lawsuit saying the only thing we bought was the lots. And the streets themselves, he still had the right to, he had the access to. So the whole thing ended up in a stalemate, and it sat for 2-3 years and nothing happened. So my first council meeting when I got elected, I asked the city attorney, I said, "So what's the story on the sports park?" He says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, oh, nothing." He says, "We got a lawsuit." He says, he says, "We own the land and he owns the streets. Can't develop it." I said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I pushed that thing. Within a year, we were starting to build a sports park over there. So in my mind, I was very instrumental in making the sports park happen. The other thing was Hidden Lakes. When I moved here, there wasn't that many developments in Keller. And one of the new developments at the time was a place called Brentwood Estates. Mm-hmm. And they were still building it. I bought a lot in there and built a house in there. And I specifically chose that neighborhood because it was going to border on the golf course. There was a proposal where they were going to have a master plan community with the golf course and all the whatever. And I no sooner buy the lot, build a house, waiting for this master plan community, and then I watched 5 developers come and go. So Mobile Oil Corporation, Mobile Land Development, felt like this was the future of this area. They wanted to build, and we ran them out of town. So guess what they did? They went down the road. There was a little town down here called South Lake. They built a little development over there called Tiburon. True story.
Oh my goodness.
Tiburon wouldn't be there today if we in Keller had allowed them to build here in what is now Hidden Lakes. And Tiburon is what put South Lake on the map, and then that was the catalyst to start bringing everything else to town.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So
first thing we did, athletic complex. We went out and we started promoting and recruiting, and we got Hanover Development out of Dallas come over here, and they took all the property and developed Hidden Lakes. Now the special thing about Hidden Lakes, they built and paid for the golf course. They built us a club. He didn't want to build a clubhouse. The guy was, his name was Dick LeBlanc. I says, "Dick, you can't have a golf course without a clubhouse. Clubhouse is a losing proposition." Yeah. I said, "Yeah, but we need one so people can have a place to meet and do the whatever." "Oh, all right, Mayor, I'll give you a clubhouse." So we got a golf course, we got a clubhouse, we got a trail system. They built all the roads. Bear Creek Parkway, they built that road at their expense. They have 5 parks within the neighborhood.
Gosh,
so it is so self-sufficient. It's unbelievable. It was probably the best thing to happen to Keller Hidden Lakes.
could you name the top 3 goals for 2019?
Number one is to get the senior center design process. We just are in the process. A matter of fact, it's coming up on the next council meeting. We're going to award the contract for begin the design of. So get the project designed and get the construction underway. The senior center is one of my top priorities right now. Number two would be more economic development. And it sounds repetitious because I say it every year, but I mean it. We need more quality development and more quality eating establishments. And number three would be to continue to add to and expand our parks and recreation facilities. Because again, we tout the fact that we're all about parks and recreation, and our trail system and all that.
Right.
But every year we strive to expand the trail system, add to, create new parks. This year alone, we're creating 2 new parks again. Milestone down here on Davis Boulevard, and then we've got the one up north. So 2 more projects underway, more trail expansion, continue to improve what we do have. We just, within the last year or so, totally renovated Bear Creek Park. And I think, well, Bear Creek Park.
I'm enjoying Bear Creek Park.
Yeah, it's a
the
great
Farmers
facility.
Market's really enjoying Bear Creek Park. We just can't thank you guys enough for allowing us to move out there.
It's a good fit. I'm just so happy, as you well know, I was involved in the initial concept of and the bringing the Keller Market to Keller. And the circle was but you outgrew it. And that's fantastic. So now I think in honesty,
like Keller.
this is a much better location.
Oh, I agree.
We've got the facilities for the families, that the children have the playground, and just the surroundings are fantastic.
It's a natural promenade. I mean, and people are really calling it a community hub. I've never had as much feedback as I've had this year with how great of a move that was.
Good.
We've got a lot more people coming out and attending. We have 162 people on a waiting list. That's how many vendors want to come out here.
Fantastic.
Isn't that crazy?
And the good thing is you have plenty of parking too.
Yes.
That was one of the big problems here was parking.
Yes.
We just couldn't accommodate all the parking.
You bet.
Especially when we had a swim meet, as you well know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now with the hotel going in, I mean, this is
exactly.
this is
So it was a good, but again, it's all part of the growth. You just continue to evolve and change when necessary. So
right.
It's been good.
It has been good.
Yeah.
Thank you again for that. One thing is, how do you think we can best engage our citizens to get more involved in the decision-making process? You hear a lot of people, those that show up decide, and I don't really see Keller as that way. I think y'all are very inclusive and try to really include everybody, but it's difficult to get people involved.
And we try hard, and we have a lady that's basically her sole purpose in life, our public relations officer, to communicate with the people. Years ago, I started a weekly newsletter. At the time, we called it the Mayor's Update. Now we call it the Keller Connect. And every Friday, the letter comes out, and it basically tells you about what's going on in the city. Anything special goes on, we post. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. I mean, we put information out in a water bill, because everybody in town gets a water bill. We do everything we can possibly to communicate with and make people aware of. For example, I've had a lot of questions lately about our monument sign there down the corner 1709 of Pearson coming from South Lake. Well, what happened was there's a major water line goes to the city of South Lake from Fort Worth, and wouldn't you know it, start leaking right underneath our monument sign.
Oh, of course.
So I've asked staff this week on Friday, they'll see, well, today is Friday as a matter of fact, they'll see an article in there basically talking about that, because a lot of people are like, what's going on? What's that big pile of dirt all about?
Right.
So that's how we try to get information out.
So I'm going to kind of put you on the spot, but if you were given a 30-second ad slot during the Super Bowl to sell living in Keller, what would you say or show pictures of?
The Super Bowl?
Yes.
I would love to have it here in Keller.
Oh. You know what? Keller would be made if you could do that. Make that happen. That should be one of your top goals. Let's see. We could probably fill Keller ISD Stadium pretty good with.
Well, I'll bet we would, wouldn't we?
Might have quite a waiting line.
We could probably get them a new stadium built.
You know what? You probably could.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No problem with that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm assuming you're a football fan.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you?
My season ended last week.
Yeah, mine too. That was they tried, but at least they made it that far. So, do you think it'll be the Chiefs, Giants, Rams, Patriots? Do you have a?
Well, it's hard. It's hard not to say the Patriots are going to be there
again. right?
There's something about them. They have this mystique. It's like they always seem to somehow make it, So I would have to. I don't know, but in the Rams, I was very impressed with them when we played them. I mean, wow! I never anticipated the game to be what it was, and I give them credit. But I like the Chiefs.
You like the Chiefs?
I like the Chiefs. I like that young quarterback. He's unbelievable. And I guess my pitch would be: do you want to live in a city that's known for its quality of life? A city that basically has the conveniences of any other big city, but more importantly, it still has been able to maintain its small town charm. It's very convenient to both the Dallas and Fort Worth cities. Very accessible to the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, which is one of the leading airports, biggest airports in the country. You can virtually fly anywhere nonstop out of DFW. So from a location standpoint, we are positioned better than just about any city in the area as far as location, being able to access the city of Fort Worth, the city of Dallas, the DFW International Airport. But more importantly, what we have that maybe the neighboring cities don't have is the quality of life. Our parks and recreational facility, our school system. I mean, it's a place where people come here. It's a city of choice. They come here because this is where they want to live and raise their family. So it's just a fantastic city, and that's why we've been ranked as the number 7 city in America as far as a place to live and raise a family by CNN Money Magazine. And that's why every year we receive, and I mean this sincerely, we receive on average about 20 allocates a year from different organizations as to the city of Keller and what we have to offer and the quality of life that we have. So, matter of fact, we would print up a banner, all the achievements and accomplishments and awards we received. It got to the point where you couldn't fit them all on the banner. Yeah, but that's something special. That's something special.
You bet. Is there a source or a site you can go to where you can actually see all those accolades?
That's a good question. I would hope you could find it on our city website, but I'll tell you what, now that you mention it, if you can't, it will be there soon.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we had today for our podcast with the wonderful Mayor Pat McGrail. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We will have to have Pat back for another podcast soon. In the meantime, please join us for our next podcast, which will be out February 6th, where we will sit down and visit with F&G Eats Bob Stevenson. So until then, we hope you all stay keen on Keller.